This is the Seahawkers podcast, episode 471. I'm Brandon Schultz, and I am joined by my good buddy, Adam Emmert. Adam, it is time for our season expectations for our Seahawks in 2025. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right, man. And we go into this show every year, and there's some things that kind of remain the same in terms of the way maybe some of the folks outside of Seattle look at the team and, our expectations. But I think this year it's a little bit on steroids, and I'm kind of fired up to do this year more so than maybe others, because I feel like more than anything, the country is really sleeping on this collection of talent this year.
I could see that. When you say that it's on steroids, exactly what do you mean by that?
Well, so the last few years, we've seen the over-unders in win totals each year for the Seahawks come out before the season, and it's always laughably low. Mm-hmm. But, for example, like the first year Geno was starting, I can't remember what they said it was. Was it like 5.5 or 6?
Oh, yeah, it had to be 5.5, 6.5.
Yeah, somewhere in there. And obviously they outperformed that by a good margin, almost doubled it. But if you look at the talent of that team as a whole, in comparison to the talent that's on this roster as a whole, I genuinely think it's night and day, especially when you're thinking on the defensive side of the ball. It's light years different in terms of where we are there. And so when I see win totals like from MGM saying 7.5 on the year with this roster, the discrepancy's bigger than ever. And so it feels like it's on steroids, because it does seem to me, Brandon, I don't know if you feel the same way, but obviously I'm with the folks that feel like Darnold's a slight downgrade over Geno Smith.
Sure.
And okay, fine. But with that said, like, I don't think it's a cavern either. And then you look at the way the defense is set up and, everything. I think most people look at that downgrade in quarterback and then the receivers moving on, and it's Seahawks are done. Who cares? Cardinals are the best.
See, when you said on steroids, I was thinking, do you mean like the opinions are so drastically one way or the other? Like,
yeah,
it's great versus it stinks. And I kind of feel that way with Sam Darnold. Like, you say downgrade, and when in reality, I feel like it's just kind of a lateral. So we can get more into Sam. But sure. I think with our head coach, Mike Macdonald, going into his second year coaching the team, I think the defense is the appropriate place to start, because I think when you say, when it comes to opinions of the Seahawks, it feels like on the defensive side of the ball, nobody is recognizing how this could really be the strength of not just this team, but maybe one of the top defenses in the NFL even.
Yeah, I really think that is completely overlooked. And you think about the talent front to back in this defense, and there's not a lot of weaknesses. We're maybe a little thin at inside linebacker in terms of depth.
Right.
But the defensive line, this is the thing, is that I think when people are doing these preseason predictions, like I listened to Bill Simmons and Sal do their over-unders for the NFC, they're talking quarterbacks, receivers, and coaches, and like all that. And I'm sitting here going, okay, what's their offensive line like? What's their defensive line like? Because that's what football is. And we've learned that painful lesson over the last few years, 12s. And we know better than I think most fan bases just how NFL games are won and lost, and it's in the trenches. And I look at this defensive front, man, and going up and down it. You tell me what the weakest link is, because whichever one you choose, it's not exactly weak.
If I were to pick one weakness, and it's probably only highlighted because of the Micah Parsons deal from the Cowboys to the Packers this past week, I look at this defensive line and I have to ask myself, coming off the edge, which player is going to have the most sacks? And I don't know if I have I don't have a beat on what that answer is. I can guess, but I don't look at a guy like if we had Micah Parsons, I go, oh, that's coming from Micah.
Right. And I think back to some of the Baltimore defenses over the last few years and some that Mike was a part of. And you think about those units and you go, okay, who's the premier edge rusher on that team? Like since T Sizzle, like
right.
who's it been? And they find guys to produce and step up in that system. So you're right by putting it in the tone of, if I had to pick a weakness on the defensive front, that would be because it's not a weakness. Like you look at it and you go, should be pretty good. Like it, maybe not elite on the edge, but it should be pretty darn good. And so I think you phrased it well that way. And I'm not so much concerned as to which one person will be the sack leader, because I think in this defense that it really is that team effort to get after the quarterback. So I'd be just thrilled if you had a smattering of 7 dudes with 6 sacks or more. Like that would be insane.
Well, even, if it's 7 and they're averaging 6+, then you're talking about being among the top in the league. And really where I think the expectation is for the pressure to come from, it's Leonard Williams, your big guy up the middle, who has been your premier pass rusher on the defensive line. And having pass rush up the middle is never a bad thing. It's just when I wonder about the edge piece, that's the only place where my mind goes.
Yeah. And I would agree with you. Like just thinking about, you look inside, is there a blue chipper inside? Yeah, it's Leo, right? And you think about Byron Murphy and where he could go this year. And it feels like this could be a massive season for him when you got guys to plug up that, nose tackle position with Hankins when he comes back, and Bohanna and Peely and those guys. And then Jared Reed there with him and all that. That interior of the line is just outrageously good. And then with the edge rushers, whether it's Mafe or Hall or Chenna or D-Law, I mean, you could sell me on any one of those dudes having a 10-sack year, and I'd be like, yeah, that tracks. Like that makes sense.
Well, you brought up Byron Murphy, and I think we're all excited for him to have like a breakout style second year, but this is our season expectation show. Do you expect that from him? Because one of the things that we've seen from the preseason, well, we only saw him out there maybe 11 snaps. I went back because I wanted to see. I'm like, man, I don't remember seeing him out there a lot. I really want to focus on him. And I saw maybe one play that excited me out of those 11 snaps. But again, it's preseason, and what can you really take away from 11 snaps?
And where are they playing him? What's the defensive scheme?
Yeah,
I'm
most
sure
of
it's
the time
vanilla.
he was in the middle and he was being double teamed. And when a guy gets double teamed, it's like, well, what's he supposed to do?
Take a knee and
I
just
mean,
try to eat
Aaron
it up.
Donald, right? Like,
yeah, and even he got mushed by double teams now and then too, right? So, even the great Aaron Donald was human. But with that said, I think about Byron's season this year, and I'm not looking for sack numbers per se, or even pressure. Pressure numbers are such bullshit. Catfish! Anyways, like they're so poorly tracked, and like good luck. I don't think anybody who tracks that stat really knows what a pressure is or isn't. Like it's all over the map. But I could care less what the numbers actually say. I'm looking for the catfish, the play up numbers, like as Chris Sims would put it. And I just want to see how many times he F's up the play. And if he's back there being disruptive and slashing and doing some of those things that he did when he was in Texas, being freed up by being able to play more like 3 technique rather than being head up over the center, that would be a massive year for him. And I think that's completely in range.
I think the play where I saw him where he was most exciting was him lined up more as a 5 technique even than a 3. And that's where part of my concern about this comes from. You mentioned a long list of names of guys who are on the practice squad. Jonathan Hankins, who's out for the first 4 weeks. We were under the impression, Adam, that Jonathan Hankins was, old man, this is my back, and I just need the preseason as a break. Turns out, maybe we were wrong about that.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, they did put him on the PUP list, so I guess he's going to be. Or is it was it the PUP list, or was it? There's another one that they've got to, or injured reserve with
injured
designation
reserve. Yeah, non-football injury, injured reserve, there which means he's out for at least 4 weeks.
Right, and it could be that he just wasn't going to be ready by say week 2, and so they're like, all right, we like what we saw. we saw what we saw out of Bo and out of Peely, and then we know that Murphy can be up there and do his thing along with Reed and man the interior of that until Hankins gets back. But I like the group, man, and I think it's gonna. And I've heard a lot of dudes talk about for defensive linemen how the second year really is a year where it clicks, from coming from college and then having a full off season and all that stuff. So I'm really looking forward to Byron Murphy this year, and I think he's going to live up to that draft pedigree for sure.
I would like to see that. And I think with, when you talk about that second year, it's something that we've seen from our Seahawks players. We saw it from Boye Mafe. We saw a little bit of it from Derek Hall making that jump from year 1 to year 2. And so I feel like as fans, it's kind of built into us now. It's like, well, shoot, we've seen it the last 2 years with our first and second round defensive linemen. It's going to happen this year with Murphy. And it's one where probably my biggest concern is, just because it was something I was so excited to hopefully see in the preseason and then didn't see it. And so, I guess there's some disappointment there for me.
I can understand that. And I know you do take it with a grain of salt, because it is exactly that. It's preseason. And we'll see what happens when they really strap it up and go out and thump the hell out of the Niners. But I'm very optimistic about this defensive front. It showed itself last year. I think, it's not like they have a ton of additions, but I think just year 2 under Mike McDonald, the way he teaches it, the way that he gets the most out of guys, I think the sky's the limit for that group up front.
So if I had to guess at the edge rusher that's going to finish with the most sacks this year, Boye Mafe would be a pretty good guess because he is in a contract year. But I think I would go with Derek Hall, just because he's shown out of everybody to be the better of like cleanup sacks. And I don't know why that is necessarily. He just that's where he got a lot of his sacks last year. And it's not necessarily the way you want a guy to get to 10, 11 sacks, but it's better than not getting the quarterback on the ground. And so I think with the amount of disruption, if he can be that guy again that dials in when the quarterback gets flushed out and takes him down, I think that's probably who ends up being the 10+ sack guy on coming off the edge, at least.
It's a solid guess. When I first thought about it, that's where my mind went. And I think the reason is that we looked at Boye Mafe last year. I think all of us, after the season he had previous before that, it was like, oh, here we go. And this is going to be the year and all of that. And he had a nice year, but it wasn't quite that 10 sack jump that we were.
He had a really good start, right?
He had a really good start. Or was that the year before?
I think it was last year. I think in the last, I think he had 3 or 4 sacks through the first 4 games, early on quarter of the season. And it was like, oh, here we go. And then it kind of, I think he matched that amount through the rest of the year.
Right. So I think it's natural then to go, it wasn't him last year, so we'll pick Derek Hall, a different name. And so, but I do think that it's probably still Mafe. I think he's the more natural pass rusher between those two. And I'm real tempted to go DeMarcus Lawrence on this. I know that he's older. I know that, he wasn't the premier guy necessarily with the Cowboys either, but he was damn good. But I still think my money's on Mafe. I think this is going to be it for him. You mentioned the contract year, all that stuff. He's going to be highly motivated. And I like guys going into the season that we haven't talked much about in the preseason in a lot of ways. Because it always feels like you start playing in the regular season and you're like, oh, we didn't say jack anything about, Jason Myers, and he's banged through 360 yarders. Like, who knew, or whatever. Like, that's a random thing, but yeah. Well,
that guy, then it could be Uchenna Nwosu, because I think through a lot of the preseason, he's a guy we weren't even necessarily counting on being on the team week 1. And now all of a sudden the season's about to start, and it's like, Chenna's healthy and he's probably going to play week 1. And this is the player, Adam, that if he ends up being the 10 sack guy, then I think we are talking about the Seahawks having the top 3 defense in the NFL.
Oh, okay. So why would it be him that would be that marker for a top 3 defense in your mind over top of, say, Mafe or Hall or any of the other guys?
I just think because he's kind of that luxury that maybe we didn't expect. Like, we have that expectation that Mafe and Hall are going to get theirs, but that if he's the one that comes in and ends up being the premier edge guy that we do actually count on and teams really have to worry about, it means that, okay, now he's back from the injury issues of the past. And now not only does the team have to worry about him, but then they also have the younger guys like Mafe and Hall. And there's a rotation that I think ends up being really tough for opposing teams to deal with.
Yeah, man, you only have one starting right tackle and one starting left tackle, but if all those guys are hitting on all cylinders defensively and you're rotating them through, it's tough on dudes out there, man. They get tired and the other guys are fresh again, like all of a sudden. It's pretty magical.
And that's what I mean. And you brought up DeMarcus Lawrence's name. So
yeah,
a very solid veteran, really good at stopping the run too. And yeah, if you think about having 4 guys who are all above average, that would be really exciting.
Yeah. I think they'll be above adequate in terms of rushing the passer, but really where it is, I mean, you talked about D-Line being able to stop the run. Derek Hall, good out on the edge, setting the edge. And then you think about Murphy, who was great against the run. Reed, who's great against the run. Leo is great against the run. Then you mix in the Mike Mose of the world and all of that in there. I think that they're thinking first and foremost, and it matches up with everything that Coach Mike has said since he's gotten here to Seattle, that we're going to build the strength up the spine of the defense and we're going to stop the run. And to me, that's the bigger marker that is going to indicate success for this team, more so than sack numbers.
If we are going to be a team that routinely stops the run, we're going to have to count on Ernest Jones and Tyrese Knight being healthy the entire season, because when I look at the depth, and I don't even know if this is solidified, but the guys behind those two are Drake Thomas, who's back with the team after last year, and a new addition from just this last week, not even part of the initial 53-man roster, but now on the current 53-man roster, former quarterback, now turned linebacker, Chaz Surratt.
Great. I don't trust anybody named Chaz. Never have, never will. So forgive me if I don't get excited when we bring in the Chaz over top of Kalispell kid, Patrick O'Connell. I know he's on the practice squad, but yeah, still, whatever about Chaz, don't care. But ENT, entertainment tonight, Ernest and Tyrese, they showed a lot of promise last year, and Tyrese was fast and flowing to the ball. And I think Ernest, in the way that he plays and as smart as he is, I think it really did free up Tyrese to play free himself as a young player. So as long as those, especially Ernest, as long as Ernest is healthy, we're going to be in good shape there at inside linebacker. If we start leaning on the Chaz, we got problems.
The Chaz or Connor O'Toole it was a surprise.
He's more of an edge guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. He's more behind Mafe. And we didn't even talk about the other edge guy, Jared Ivey, who made the final 53.
Good against the run. Yeah.
But yeah, looking at the linebackers, I think one area where I am really excited is with Ernest Jones, because last year he didn't have an off season with the Seahawks. He was brought in 6 or 7 weeks into the season and came right in. Early. It was maybe a little bit of a slow start. Like, he didn't actually, I think he maybe not even a slow start, because I think he was the leading tackler. I think he was the leading tackler the very first game that he played. But in terms of just making, stops and big plays and that sort of thing, it seemed to take a little while. I'm excited now that he's had an off season with Mike McDonald, with this defense, and now getting to see what he'll be able to do with this defense.
Oh, without question. And that's one of the other things that we can get to is just the history that Mike McDonald had in Baltimore in First half of the season, kind of rough of his first year. Second half of the season starts to come together. I mean, we saw it with all the DVOA numbers and everything. And then the second year, the performance that Mike McDonald put out there as a defensive coordinator was showcased against our Seahawks, so much to the effect that John Schneider was like, yeah, Pete can go away, and I want whatever that is. That's how good it was. Yeah.
I felt that as a fan watching the game too, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I know what I liked with Pete. Like we had a good defense with him, but I like this more now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever that thing is, like, give me some of that. Like, yeah.
Well, getting into the secondary, Josh Jobe possibly listed as the starter. I really wonder how much nickel defense and how it's going to work with Witherspoon playing on the outside. Obviously, Reek's going to have his spot on the outside. I feel like the way that we saw Witherspoon, we saw him outside a lot more last year than inside. We've got Josh Jobe. We've got Shaq Griffin, who's on the practice squad doing some of those last-minute roster moves where they put a guy who's a veteran then down on the practice squad, then they bring in and sign somebody to add some depth at the corner spot. And we've got Nehemiah Pritchett. We've got Darion Kendrick, who is that the guy who's named Pooh, who came from the Rams?
No,
nicknamed Pooh.
The guy that nicknamed Pooh was the point guard for the Hornets, Clippers, Suns. Yeah, that guy.
You can't steal nicknames?
No, you can't steal real names. Like, it's Chris Paul Jr. and Chris Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
But getting back to our defensive backs, we probably don't need to get too much into the depth there, but really like the four with Reek, with Spoon, with Julian Love, Kobe Bryant. I'm excited to maybe see if there's even some more growth there from Kobe with what Coach Mike's been able to do with safeties over the years, too.
Yeah, possibly. And I just want Kobe to have a follow-up season to what he did last year, where he took the crow, grabbed it by the throat, and then stuffed it right down my throat. It was like, do you like that? Because I had to eat all the crow about Kobe Bryant, and happily, I'm happy to do it. Like, congratulations to Kobe, and it's good for our deal. I'm excited about that. And if he can grow even more, then great. But if he could at least duplicate what he did last year, maybe a little less crow right in my face would be great. But I want him to do well. And then more outside Spoon, I think, is probably going to be fun to see. Because if we're going into nickel looks, is it going to be more like big nickel? Are we going to see a lot more E-man out there in the slot and doing that rather than maybe throwing Jobe or Pritchett or, Griffin out there? I think when Griffin gets fully back up to speed and all that, he may be one of our starting outside corners, and then maybe a little more inside Spoon. We'll see. But it's a tremendous mix of dudes. And then you talk about Julian Love and his leadership, maturity, Swiss Army knife ability. And then just listening to Julian talk about this group as a whole and the togetherness of it. That's one of the things when I talk about this being a year where the Seahawks are maybe slept on more than most. I go to line play. I go to team chemistry. Those are a couple things. And you start hearing about this team and just how together they are in comparison to maybe teams past. And that's super exciting. So I like this group back there. Obviously, Reek's playing for some money as well. Let's see if he can step it up at another level. And, if that means pulling down 6-7 picks this year and, trying to get that massive payday, then so be it. I'd love to see it. Let's go.
Okay. So we talked about expectations for maybe some of the bigger sack numbers from the front seven. How about from this group of defensive backs? Who do you expect to be the leader in interceptions?
Sure. Interceptions are the most unpredictable thing in all of football in a lot of ways. Short of, there's been a couple dudes throughout the years where you're like Sherm would be an example, but Revis and
and it's pretty incredible when Sherm and Revis were leading in interceptions too, because it was so rare that teams actually threw their way. And so the fact that they could get 6, 7, 8 out of like 40, 50 attempts that went their direction. Yeah. That's impressive when you can put up those kinds of numbers.
It is. So, based on where the ball is likely to go, whoever's playing the not spoon spot, right? Like, just whether that's Pritchett or Job or Griffin, like one of those three dudes, because nobody's throwing at Reek. Nobody wants to screw a spoon. And so it's going to be that third corner / safety. Maybe it's Eamon Ward.
Yeah, I was going to say Eamon Ward. Is it Julian Love?
Possibly. I don't see Julian as like a big time ball hawk. Like he does everything really well.
And that's what I mean. He finds himself in spaces, I think, where he out of all the guys, I feel like he's one to predict best where the ball is likely going to go.
That's true.
And so that's why I think he would be most likely to be in the right position.
All right, fine. Julian Love it is then. Yeah, because I had big feelings about it going into the discussion, but he's a bright dude, so it's tough to argue.
I'm glad I talked you into it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So with the defense, expectations high. Any other things that you want to say about this defense before we move over to, I don't know, special teams or the offense, perhaps?
I say that this defense, my season expectation for this group is to be a top 8 or better in points per game. That's my expectation. At least top 8.
If they're not top 6, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, why would you do that to you? Just go down to 8.
I'd be slightly disappointed. Like 7 or 8, I'd be like, I have higher expectations than you.
They're just like on the bottom of a top 10 defense. Like, boo. Can't have it. Disappointed.
I said slightly disappointed, not like extremely disappointed.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10 of disappointment, like a 3 disappointment?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Maybe even a 2, but it's like, I have high hopes and expectations for this defense.
Gotcha.
Special teams, I don't know if I have necessarily expectations from like the return group. I have expectations for Michael Dixon and Jason Myers just because they're veterans that we've seen everything from. Are we going to get special teams squared away this year? Or are we going to be talking about one of our coaches on the hot seat by the end of this year?
They better, or we're going to be a Harbaugh's team. Like that's for sure. There's a lot of grumbling for Coach Mike to lose,
like who seems to be his best friend on the coaching staff.
Oh, do you think it's young Harbaugh, or do you think it's Leslie Frazier?
No, I think it's young Harbaugh. The way he talks about being with him at Michigan, and I think he was even with the Ravens for a spell. I think these dudes have been hanging out for a while, and that's
gotcha.
I get that sense anyway.
All right. Well, I'm rooting for Jay because it's better for our deal if he does better. But yeah, the coverage stuff has to get figured out, man. It was ugly.
And when I hear in the offseason Jay talking about how Coach Mike gave him the assignment of figuring out how to warm up the best, what are we having our special teams coach do? Like, there's no quality control coach that can take that on of like figuring out how warm up should go.
Yeah. No, I can just see Coach Mike like coming up and be like, Jake, all right, I got a big assignment for you this year. Okay. I was going to give you warm-ups, but like I've got somebody else for that. I need you to figure out the parking lot diagram for who gets what space at Lubin Field this year. Like I need you on that. Get creative because, like different guys probably should take a different amount of steps getting into the building. Like I really need you to innovate here. Get after it, bud.
If the special teams continues to perform poorly, I think throughout the season we need to come up with really crap jobs that we need to give Jay Harbaugh put more work onto his plate throughout the season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could think of one to start with. Like you could put him on making sure those porta potties are clean right outside there in front of the VMAC where all the construction's going on. Like for all the construction dudes, like make sure he's checking that 2-3 times a day.
I don't know if we've ever gotten to the bottom of how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, because I feel like I was lied to throughout my entire childhood based on TV commercials.
Dude, everything is a pack of lies. Don't believe anything. Do your own research. I did on Tootsie Pop. It's more than 3.
Looking to the offense for our Seahawks. Man, we've got a big change at quarterback. And by big change, I mean lateral change from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, Adam.
Well, you're slightly wrong on that. You're slightly wrong because it's a slight downgrade. We'll see if Sam proves me wrong. I'm rooting for the guy. And honestly, as we've gone through the preseason and, training camp and all of that, and listening to him talk more and more and just kind of, getting a better feel for the dude. I am genuinely rooting for him to get it figured out, for Darnold to have himself a really nice year. I'm still unbelievably skeptical about his performance. I've laid out the reasons 1,000 times on the show. We don't all need to hear it again.
Well, it's the start of the season show. If you're going to lay it out again, this is the time to do it. Okay.
Well, just quickly, when he played, let's see, he's been in the league now 7 years. It was last year his 7th year or 6th year. I want to say it was his 7th year. So the 6 years before that
was his rookie season.
Right. The 6 years before that was garbage. It was awful. Seeing ghosts, like unplayable. Nobody was excited to have Sam Darnold as their quarterback in any way, shape, or form.
4 years with the Jets will do that to somebody, like with Geno.
Geno had like 2 years of real playing with the Jets and then got his jaw broke and then had to back up Hall of Famers for the rest of his career up until he finally got a chance to start in Seattle. Very different. Like, he's trying to beat out Broken Baker when he's in Carolina. Can't do that. Can't beat out Noodle Arm Brock Purdy. Can't do that. And gets the job by default. He was going to lose that job to JJ based on the one preseason game up in Minnesota, but manages to come in QB Goldilocks zone and have himself one good year out of 7. I have 6 bad years and I have one good year. That's my track record that I'm looking at. It's just facts. Like, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. And he did it in QB Goldilocks zone. Fantastic offensive coach, coming off a coach of the year this last year, coaching up Sam Darnold. He had a great running game behind Aaron Jones. I don't care what any of those people tell you that the Vikings line really wasn't that much better than the Seahawks. Bullshit! All the bullshit! I watched that line last year in that scheme for the Seahawks and a bunch of the Vikings game, night and day. Were they great? No, but we were that abysmal last year. So behind a better offensive line and with some of the best pass catchers that you can get in Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and Naylor. Like, that's a nice group there. And everything went right for him until it didn't. And that's why I'm skeptical about it. Because the last couple games, look, the Rams game in the playoffs, okay, fine. Offensive line was decimated at that point. They bum rushed him. He didn't have a shot. That's fine. I'm not holding that against him. But the Lions game against Lions defense, that they were getting dudes from Staples to come out and frickin' play, like, that's where he had his choke job and they didn't get the number 1 seed. That worries me greatly when the lights get real bright.
Yeah.
That scares me to death with him. But we'll see. He's got an opportunity here. I think, there's some things to look forward to. I think the thing that gives me hope about him this year is that they paired him with an offensive coordinator that has zero desire to put it all on him. And I think that's what's going to be helpful for him.
And that's where I wanted to go to next was when you look to last year and you look at the pairing of the offensive coordinator with the quarterback, Geno Smith and Ryan Grubb, and now to the pairing of Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak, that's where I see the upgrade is the two together.
Okay. I mean, that's not fair to the quarter. That's definitely not fair to Geno, like, who had a decent season with the worst offensive coordinator in the league by far. Just utter trash. The worst, just so bad, and an offensive line that was so catfished by that guy. Like that, Geno, it was zero run game, and Geno still had a decent season, and yeah, so somebody competent.
You can continue to defend Geno all you want. I'm talking about what we had last year versus what we have right now.
Yeah,
and
so
I see the combination, I see it as when I combine those two, it is now ticked in the upward direction.
Well, yeah, that's not because of Darnold. That's because of Kubiak.
Okay.
Okay. As long as we agree on that. Yeah.
That's who we have. Because if, again, I will continue to say this. I feel like it's very much a lateral move where Geno, I think, especially within the pocket, one of his things that he does better than I think Sam Darnold does is just some of the pocket awareness stuff, his ability to move within the pocket, anticipation. He's better than Geno's better than Sam.
He's got a better arm. He's more accurate. He's faster. Okay. He's a better processor. It's kind of all the things.
The one thing, though, and I put this on your radar and I've continued to watch it, is that Geno Smith is not an under center quarterback. And we've seen now Pete Carroll not use him under center. We saw I guess Pete wasn't coordinating the offense, but we saw Shane Waldron not use him under center. We saw Grubb not use him under center. And now we're seeing down with the Raiders, Chip Kelly also not using him under center, at least through the preseason. What was it? And again, it is preseason. So it was only 29 Geno Smith snaps. But the two that I counted of him under center were a couple of goal line handoffs to Ashton Genty.
Okay, so Shane Waldron, disaster of an offensive coordinator that obviously didn't learn how to get under center from his frickin' boss in L.A. when he was there. Had Geno in the gun a bunch and had no rhyme or reason to his offense. Then a college coordinator in Grubb comes in who was allergic to under center. Never played him under center. And now another rinky-dink college offensive coordinator who we saw was allergic to under center with his time in the NFL the last time he was here isn't using Geno under center. And it's a Geno can't play under center thing.
It's a Geno doesn't play under center type thing. Sam Darnold in one season with the Minnesota Vikings has more snaps under center. Did he have
Ryan Grubb or Waldron or Chip Kelly as his coordinator? Or did he have a real NFL offensive coordinator that understands the value of getting under center? Does Geno call the center under center plays or does the coach?
In one season, he has more NFL experience under center than Geno Smith does his entire NFL career.
He didn't play for like 8 years.
I'm saying Geno Smith just does not have experience lining up under center. So if I want the more experienced guy, I know who it is. It's Sam Darnold. And that's the type of football that I want to see a team play.
Me too. But the idea when we did see Geno under center, did he look like a train wreck under center or we were going like, yeah, more of that? Because I remember saying that a ton.
Hey, you just said that he was better at processing and better at anticipation. Yeah. I wonder if that goes down with him playing under center.
We'll never know because he played with some of the worst damn coordinators that never called those plays.
I'm saying it's more likely that a lot of these coaches saw his body of work, know him from being in the building with him and going, okay, maybe we need to put him under shotgun because that gives our team the best way to win. Like that's the more likely outcome to me than just going, all of these people were dumb and didn't know how to use Geno. Is it not
empirically true that all of these people sucked at their job?
Pete Carroll was still the coach, whether Shane Waldron was the coordinator or not.
Sure. Mike McDonald was the coach last year and looked at Grubb how many times it was like, run the catfish ball. And Grubb went, yeah, no, I'm good.
And Pete now brings back Geno to run him entirely out of the shotgun in the preseason.
Again, I don't understand Pete's choice of Chip Kelly. That's the part that makes this just baffling to me. Like, no, never. When they talked about bringing in Chip Kelly last year, I was like, oh, God, please no. Little did I know they could choose worse.
Yeah.
I just don't think that stat is indicative of Geno's ability under center or non-ability under center. I don't think that correlates. I don't.
I think it's much more likely. But I guess if the Raiders just decided to run exclusively out of shotgun, you can say at the end of the season, well, I guess we'll never know.
Well, maybe Ashton Genty is more comfortable running out of gun because that's all he did in college. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
Maybe
it still has nothing to do with Geno. But you're right about Kubiak being a big upgrade.
Kubiak is a very much under center guy because not only Sam Darnold did we see, we only saw 9 snaps at quarterback, but 7 of those under center, only 2 out of shotgun. We got to see Drew Lock out there for 79 snaps, 53 under center. And for Drew Lock, who I guess if I were to also assume that he would maybe be better out of shotgun, I don't know why I have that assumption. I just do.
It's just like where your Geno one comes from, so it's good.
53 snaps under center, 26 out of shotgun. And then maybe even just a little bit surprising was as a college quarterback coming into the NFL, Jalen Milroe, you would think in the preseason, oh, well, we'll just use him to his strength, what he knows. And basically what he knows is playing out a gun in a college system. Still, it was about a little more than 50-50. And the thing I'd say about that, too, is that situationally, Milroe was probably in more moments in the preseason where they had to run hurry up more. They had to run, especially late in the game, fourth quarter type stuff, needed to play out of gun more just because of the situation. And still, out of his 114 snaps, he had 49 under center.
Yeah, and that I agree with you completely about the situational part, because if you think about the preseason week 3, his full game that he played, just couldn't run the ball the way that they had earlier in the preseason, and so ended up in a lot of 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and that sort of thing, 3rd and long.
Right.
And so that's going to lend itself to being in gun a little bit more and going that direction. So, and also too, probably in that game, I'm guessing that, again, you're trying to play to his strengths a little bit, give him a little bit of confidence. And although I haven't had a chance to talk about it much, his preseason performance in Milroe in that final game, that was the perfect preseason game for him to have in week 3 of the preseason before going into the season where he's not really going to see the field much. It was perfect. It was perfect. Had a couple dots, had a couple bad plays, like enough to, really get you grinding and back in the weight room and in the playbook and just really training hard and trying to fix the things that went wrong. And the number one thing that went wrong, Brandon, was just not trusting it. Like the one fumble that he had earlier in the game, it was a 3rd and 3, it's a 3-step drop. He hits the back foot. He sees the end breaker. It's open. He starts to throw it. And for whatever reason, doubts himself because he's a young player just getting his feet wet in the NFL, doesn't let it rip. If he just lets it rip there's no sack, there's no fumble, there's no nothing. And it's another completion. And that happened a bunch throughout the game. And so his biggest problem in that game was just let it rip, bub. Just let it rip. Like, trust yourself. You were already there. You did all the hard work. You got your footwork right. Got the read right. You had the timing right. Trust your feet. Listen to your feet. Chuck the ball.
The turnovers were the concerning part. And so when you say it's perfect, I think you're saying it's perfect in terms of the type of development that he needs to make. And holding on to the football would be one of those things, because that's the thing that we saw from him in college too. We saw some turnovers, saw some fumbles.
He wasn't a fumble machine.
Not a machine, but it was enough to where you're like, I don't know. It wasn't.
We watched different tape then. Every quarterback fumbles. Like, I didn't feel like he
some
fumbled
weird fumbles in college, to where he was just running outside and then lost control of the football. I think that was one of the turnovers in the Oklahoma game. I don't know. It was one of the games where it was.
I think that's the one that sears in your brain the most, is that Oklahoma game, which was like his worst game, judging it by his worst.
It was terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
he wasn't a fumble machine in college. Like so I'm not worried about his ball security. He's not Daniel Catfish Jones.
He had, so Milroe had 6 fumbles in his final college year, 8 fumbles in his college career.
Man, just so many of them.
I don't know. I suppose a snap that goes, does that count as, it goes into the stat sheet as a fumble for him, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And that was on him. Like, that was a good enough snap. You got to catch that, bud. He just had too much going through his head. It's all fine. It's all, everything that happened to him in that game. I firmly believe that you learn a lot more from failure than you do from success. So there was enough failure in that game that I think will be very motivating. and things to work on. And really everything that happened there that was poor was just needing to slow the game down just a little bit. And I'm not surprised at all that it's moving a little quick for him in his first ever preseason start in the NFL.
I think maybe some of the problem is for there was the hope that he could be Russell Wilson in the preseason and that we didn't see that. And so I think that if there's disappointment among the fans, it's that, oh, well, that's too bad that didn't happen.
I get that. I mean, everybody wants everybody to come out and be instantly awesome, but I mean, that's how special it was with Russ. Russ, by the way, when he came out, was a far more polished passer than Milroe by like a lot. So
do you think it was so much failure in the preseason with the turnover bit?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a reason why then they might not use him in some of these specialized packages that
let's hope so. Let's hope so. I hate this idea of the Milroe package. Like if we're moving people like we did in the preseason offensively with the offensive line and the backs and all that, why on God's green earth are we breaking up that rhythm and taking out your starting quarterback and doing all that to bring in another dude? Like it rarely makes sense to me. And I think it stunts his development long-term. If you just try to turn him into Taysom Hill, I'd rather give him a full year to sit back and learn how to play quarterback. That sounds great to me.
My impression and then expectation for this year is that they wanted to talk about that and show that as much in the preseason as they could, so that it's one extra thing the teams have to prepare for that we might actually deploy, but then rarely, if ever, then actually deploy in the regular season.
Okay, so go into the okie doke there.
Well, not the okie doke. It's just that we're throwing it out there. You're going to have to prepare for it every week. You know, Milroe's on the bench. That's time that you take away that of other things that you have to prepare for with our offense. You just have to deal with it.
I like that. That works for me. That's going to break Clinton's heart. He's all in on this short yardage Milroe stuff.
Well, he already had his heart broken about D'Anthony Bell being waived.
Future Hall of Famer. I just want a steak and a beer. And we didn't even have to get to week 10 or whatever it was. Week 7.
I think it was week 4.
Yeah, 10 tackles by week 4 or whatever it was.
No, it wasn't even 10 tackles, Adam. It was 10 on-field snaps.
Oh, 10 snaps. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Clinton. That's fine.
That was great. Yeah, I love winning those. That worked out for my deal.
I would love winning the battle of being right with this division of the fan base that is between Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. While I have seen some significant improvement from Charbonnet and his running ability, we're in position with this offensive line, having seen some of what we did against Kansas City. We could see a special season from Kenneth Walker. And unless they just decide to do like in previous seasons and only open up holes for Zach when he's on the field and not so much when K9's on the field for whatever weird reason.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 things that Charbonnet does better than Kenneth Walker. And one is be available every week. And we say it all the time, health is a part of talent. He has more talent in the health department. He just does, at least up to this point. And then the second thing is that I think because he's significantly slower, his pace when he gets to the line, I think that it times up with the holes maybe a little better, where Ken's getting there a little early in some ways. And so maybe that's why it appears that there's holes. But like every time Sharps has had a big game, it's not like he's making something out of nothing, running over 4 dudes. Like, just look at some Barry Sanders highlights, like someday, if you want to know what it is to make something out of nothing.
Or Marshawn highlights. I mean, where we saw Marshawn get the ball and like he's pushing the pile with like dudes hanging off of him.
Yes. Whereas Sharps, like, he has his big games when you could drive like an F-150 through the hole and like that. And that's fine. Like, he's a good back. He's fine. Like, delightfully average. Like, that's great. Yeah. But Ken Walker is like the amount of talent that he has in terms of his wiggle, his speed, his burst. I even like his vision a little bit more than Sharps, but that's probably controversial. It's just,
I don't mind the cutback stuff, Adam. If he sees where he is going and there is no hole there and then he wants to cut it back. Yes, do that, because you have the talent and the speed then to run away from the entire defense.
Yeah. I think where he could grow a little bit is understanding that, sometimes 2.5 yards is a good play. And that
2.5 yards is sometimes better than -2. Right.
Right. When you had a 30% chance to get a +30 instead, right? Like you could go +30 or -2. It's only a 30% chance that you're going to get that +30. And you end up at 70% chance to get -2, and you get the -2 instead of like an 85% chance to get that 2.5. Just take the 2.5.
That sounds like a lot of math for a running back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. So to put it in simpler terms, just read it like Marshawn. I'll just read it.
Well, because he had that calculation of, if it's not there, I'm just going to run through that dude and put him on the ground. And K9's not that type of running back, and neither is Charbonnet. If I mean, maybe Holani can be that guy, because, man, if they can find a guy who can like stay on his feet and just push the pile when you need 1 or 2 yards, that's the guy that I feel like is missing from this trio of running backs.
Well, it's a good thing we have a fullback, good buddy.
Robbie Oots. Can Robbie Oots be that guy?
He can be that guy. Yeah, 100%. I believe in the Oots.
Put Oots behind A.J. Barner and any of the other 10 tight ends on this offense. And
get Brady Russell up in front playing the fullback, and just follow the hair, Robbie, and it's going to be magic.
The double fullback formation with 3 tight ends.
I love it. Just jelly it right down their throat. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And that to me was its own statement, right? With this 53-man roster and how many tight ends they decided to roster. It does seem like a statement all to itself of, this is the type of football team we're going to be. We heard Mike Macdonald say we wanted to be a tough team last year. Now going into 2025, I'm actually feeling that they do intend on this Seahawks offense. And we really haven't talked about it much to this point, but it is because the offensive line is because of the fullback and the tight ends. I think how you really commit to that toughness style of football.
100%. And I think that's why they kept so many tight ends. I love tight ends. I want to be surrounded by at least 6 tight ends like they have on the roster here. And it's going to be cool to see how they use all those tight ends. Kubiak has a selection of tight ends, which is great. But with that said, the commitment to it and the mentality of it, that's what it's all about, right? That's what we were missing with the Grubb offense last year. That's what we were missing under Waldron as well, was, look, it's non-negotiable, as Abe put it. It's non-effing negotiable. This is what we're doing. Good luck stopping it. And, Salk, Brock and Salk keeps talking about how he came up with the mantra, if you want to be good at, if you want to run the football, then you got to run the football. And I'm like, yeah, you stole that from us, but that's cool. But if you take it a step further, which I think is really where it goes, to get good at running the football, you have to run the football. And that's something both you and I have said for a number of years now. And it was like, well, we just didn't get our opportunities. It just didn't work out. Just couldn't do it. It's like, well, no, you can. You just call the play and then you run it. And then you get better as you learn through failure, as we talked about a little bit with Milroe. And so the mentality that Kubiak and Mike has and now is instilled with this team, it makes it so much easier on the offensive line. They get to play downhill and aggressive, and it just permeates throughout the roster. And I freaking love it, dude. This is why, of all the years in the last few years when we've done expectations, even though I'm a little bummed about going from Geno to Darnold, like, I'm fired up for this year, man, because this right here, this is what we're going to do. I can't wait.
I know that you've even brought it up in the past, talking about finding a team. And I think the Ravens have started to kind of catch on to this the last couple of years, especially with having Derrick Henry in the backfield, having Lamar Jackson as a physical running quarterback, a team that's able to physically dominate on the offensive side of the ball can find a way to beat some of these pass-happy teams because they just aren't going to let go of the football.
That's right. So one of my season expectations for this offense is to be a top 5 team in time of possession. That's something I had written down before we came to this podcast. And I think that's going to be huge. I mean, that's one of the things that we talked about so much in the last couple of years of Pete. And then even through the beginning of last year, it's like this defense is exhausted because they're always on the field. And seeing their efficiency on, 4th and short and 3rd and short in the preseason gives me a lot of hope that they'll be able to do that in the regular season here.
So if they are top 5 in time of possession, what does that mean for our wide receiver group? We haven't talked about them yet. I feel like we've saved them for last. JSN, Cooper Kupp, Torrey Horton potentially being that third guy, especially now that MVS did not make the final roster. Still got Jake Bobo, got some Derek Young and Cody White. Man, when I mentioned keeping all the tight ends, when I look at this group and the physical types of wide receivers, especially as depth pieces, all 3 of those guys, Cody White, Jake Bobo, Derek Young, and Kupp's had some experience being that
Kupp
physical blocking type wide receiver too. It does strike me as a potentially physical group of receivers.
Oh, without question. The cutting of MVS and the guys that they did keep, I mean, it told you exactly what this is all about. And I love it, man. Kupp definitely was a fantastic blocker for the Rams. I think it was Baldy say that like the Rams the last few years had specialized in being a 11 personnel team that played like they were a 12 personnel team because the receiver, that third receiver, did a lot of really physical and good blocking. And so as much as I still will forever sports hate poor Cooper Kupp, he's going to be good in that respect. And, I have real questions about JSN, the true number 1. Everybody's just penciled that in as if it's a given. And we'll see. I think that's going to be interesting. I think he could very well do it. I'm not saying it's impossible by any stretch, but I think a lot of people forget about how much attention DK was taking away from him last year when he had his breakout season. And it's going to be all on him this year in terms of being that true number 1. We'll see if he can make it happen. And I honestly think Torrey Horton's going to be our legit number 2 by week 12. I think he's that good. I'm really high on Torrey Horton. I loved his stuff coming out of college. He's exciting, and we'll see how it goes for Kupp with his health and all that stuff. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. But the thing is that does it really matter, Brandon, how many balls these guys catch? Like they're not going to be the focus of this offense. And I think that's what's got the national media so confused about this team.
That could be part of it. I do want to go back to the number 1 wide receiver bit because I think it's an important distinction. And I think you and I have been kind of on the same page of the number 1 receiver doesn't always necessarily mean that that's where most of the yards come from. It's more of the impact of the defense and how they recognize who the guy is that they most need to stop. Do you think that when you have your question about whether JSN can be that guy, if it's not him, who would it be in this group?
Torrey Horton.
Yeah.
I think he has that ability in him. I think JSN has that ability in him, but we need to see it. We got people crown him last year.
We did get to see JSN out on the field without DK a couple weeks, and he was definitely the top producer in terms of volume.
Yeah,
when DK was out, and so that's why I just think it makes sense that he would be number 1, both in volume, and then because of the volume, maybe that attention then goes to him too. Yeah, because I don't think it has to be, the strongest, fastest guy necessarily. This is like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like he would be the number 1 receiver on the Lions, I feel like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I have a tough time with JSN's game because he is so just smooth. Like there's nothing appears sudden about his game, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he doesn't
Steve
look
Largent
fast,
was
but he
like
is.
that too. Right. So
yeah. So like I am fully aware that I may have the worst blind spot in the world when it comes to JSN. Fully admit to it. Like I have a hard time just because of his style. And we'll see it this year. The thing is that I don't know that any of these receivers are going to be the people that are getting the most attention in this offense. I think you're going to see a lot of stack boxes, and they're going to be really focused in on this run game and who's going to have to bow up and take an oots to the face. And that's going to open up a lot in the passing game. So it could end up being a little easier for him.
If the focus is on the run game and you're talking about one-on-ones with Kupp, one-on-ones with Horton, one-on-ones with JSN, like I'll take any of those three guys one-on-one.
All professional receivers in any of these guys that are very good in this league that are starter quality at the receiver position, they can toast about any DB one-on-one. If you give them 2.5 or give them 3.5 seconds, it's over. Like every receiver's winning.
If they can be that physical football team, we think that they can be. And let's close with the offensive line, Adam.
Yeah.
Can they do it? If you would have told me after the 2024 season, if our three guys in the middle, because I would still say that, Cross and Lucas, those would be the two guys at tackle. I'd expect them to be our week one starters once again.
Mm-hmm.
But if you would have told me at the end of 24 that it would still be Bradford at right guard, that not even Oluwatimi would be at center, it would be Jalen Sundell who would move up to, I don't know, do you say move up or just be there and available through the preseason to where he ended up with that spot? And then a rookie out of North Dakota State, I would have been furious at the end of the 24 season at John Schneider saying, what did he do all offseason then?
I don't know if anybody listened to our show in the offseason, but there was some high-level frustration with the way that they went after this offensive line this offseason. And, like, look, if you would have told me, okay, you got a healthy Abe, you got healthy Charles Cross, you got a first-round guard, he happens to be out of North Dakota State, like, okay. And then you would have told me, and it's Sundell and Bradford. I mean, what the catfish? What are we doing? Like, did we not learn anything? That would have concerned me greatly, because I genuinely thought that Olu was going to win this job. I think the Seahawks thought Olu was going to win this job going into this preseason and in training camp. But Sundell seized his opportunity, and you see his athleticism show up in this zone scheme and get into the second level, and he's been a nice fit. Can he continue that in the regular season against ones with live bullets week after week after week? We'll find out. Bradford, he made the jump, and his body looks so much better, if you say so.
What, are you putting words in my mouth? When did I say that?
No, not you.
Okay.
I just, especially on 710, I've heard this over and over and over again. Oh, the transformation of Anthony Bradford. And it's like, did he go into a cocoon this offseason? Like, is he now a butterfly? Like, no, he still looks like, a big, slightly tubby athletic dude, okay, fine. But I think overall what's helped more than personnel in this sense has been coaching by a huge margin. And it's just, and I'm not even talking about Benton. Good job, Benton. I'm happy with what I've seen so far. You'll get as much praise as you want throughout the season, I bet, because I think it's going to look good. But Kubiak, and it's just bringing the philosophy of firing off the ball, running a lot of play action, getting under center, allowing offensive linemen to take the fight to the freaking defensive linemen instead of playing in a backpedal all freaking season like we've done the last couple of years. And I think that's made the biggest difference overall for, say, like Sundell or Bradford to this point than even their own. And I'm not trying to take anything away from their work this offseason and everything they've done, but I think that's the biggest difference.
Well, when you look at the personalities of all those guys, it feels like the style that they would prefer to play too. I never really looked at Bradford and thought, oh yeah, he's like a drop back pass guy. Like he looks like the type of guy that he wants to run people over. You hear Abe, he's the type of dude who wants to run people over. If I were to guess between Sundell and Olu, like probably Sundell would be the guy I would guess, especially with the North Dakota background. Like he wants to run people over, maybe a little bit more. And then Cross is just good. So I don't think it much matters which way you go at the left tackle spot. But when all those guys are playing the type and style of football that they would prefer to play, yeah, I think that when that matches up with the coaching and the style that the coach wants to play too, I think that's where you see that improvement. And so there's that part of it that makes me optimistic. And then that we also got to see it, and not even with Charles Cross out there against the Chiefs, but the other 4 guys out there against the Chiefs and driving down with, and maybe not all the ones from KC, but enough to where it gets you excited.
Yeah. Can we call that game against the KC, the defense they played, like the 1.5s?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't the 1s, it wasn't the 2s, it was the 1.5s. Like, that's what it felt like there. But it was darn impressive. I do believe, though, and I'll stand on this until the end of the year. We'll see what the end result is. But I truly believe that by the end of this year, one of our regrets this offseason is for John to have punted on free agency in the guard market. I still believe to this date we should have had one veteran signing to really help solidify that group, and I'd feel a lot better about it. We'll see. Maybe John Schneider is smarter than me yet again. Maybe
it's
he's
not a big
like
leap for you to say that, though. It's because when you look at the competition, quote unquote, that Bradford had with Haynes behind him, like how many of us are going, oh yeah, Haynes, we had high hopes that Christian Haynes would compete for that spot, especially where he was drafted. But you're looking at it now, and it's the guy behind him is Mason Richmond, a 7th round guard, and or maybe it's Cabledew, who is a 6th round guard. But that you're counting on dudes that you drafted this year as your backups. Yeah,
I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it, but I think the scheme helps a bunch. We'll see how it goes. I'd have loved to see somebody else be brought in, and John just says, no, I am not writing checks to guards. I won't do it. It's against my religion. I don't know what it is, but it just won't do it.
Let's hope that we get to see a good season out of Charles Cross, a good season out of Abe Lucas, and he will pay offensive linemen after solid seasons. And
I don't think he has a problem paying tackles. Like I think that's fine.
Okay.
But and then I do want to go back to Haynes real quick, though. That was the biggest disappointment of this offseason to me in terms of all the different guys and their development or lack thereof. I really thought he'd take another step. It really felt like strength was the area that he really needed to improve on. And that seems like the most plug and play thing to do, take heavy things, push it around, get stronger. And he posted me,
right?
Steaks and squats, baby. I forgot about steaks and squats. But he posted me. Like I kept saying with Posick, like for year after year, I was like, he just needs to get stronger. He'll be fine. That's an easy thing to do. And then he never did until he got to like the Browns. Like, so
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a weight program there that finally clicked for him.
Yeah. Maybe they have a steak program where we're missing. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know.
Shouldn't be that hard. I mean, Eastern Washington, we got farmers out there that grow steaks that can take them into the VMAC. It's just over the mountain range.
More wheat than steaks out there. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
But Montana's not far away. We can bring you some of them
we got
cows.
The steaks. Okay.
Yeah, we got cows.
Expectations. Let's close on this. Expectations for our Seahawks 2025 record, Adam, because I know for me, I think with this style of football, we're going to see a lot more close games. So it's part of it's going to be, how is Sam going to be in the clutch? Can the defense close out some of these wins? That's where I probably have my biggest question. And the thing is, with the division that we're in, with the 49ers being as hit by the injury bug as they are, we still have questions about the Rams, although I feel like we're being okey-doked by Stafford and McVay. I'm not going to believe it until I actually don't see Stafford on the field early on in the season. I don't believe
hair gel either. Like, I don't. Yeah.
It feels like some LA bull crap that they're just trying to play on us.
Yeah.
Hollywood nonsense. And, they're going to come out and, now here comes Matt Stafford. So that's a question there, but still not worried about the Cardinals. I think it's going to be a 10-8 12-7 season for our Seahawks.
Okay. So I think most years I've kind of played it right in that area, like that 9-10 is at least in the last few years.
Yeah.
And I think this year, I just feel like the national media has it so freaking wrong. Like I was listening to Rich Eisen's show and they were doing their NFC West preview and they were going through it. And Brockman gets on there and he's like, yeah, Seahawks they're just not exciting. So like, I like the Cardinals better. And it's like, wait a second, fantasy face. Like, not everything is about big numbers and fantasy football and points, like all that. It's about in the trenches and physical style and time of possession and fewer turnovers and disciplined ball and innovation on defense. Everybody like, well, who's got the best offenses this year? Like, blah, blah. Oh, the Bengals could still make the playoffs, even though their entire defense is a dumpster fire. They're at a Super Bowl window still somehow. Get the catfish out of here. Like look, defense matters every bit as much as offense. And I think this defense is going to be real good and super scary. And I think this offense is set up to play exactly to those strengths. And I think we're going to have more double-digit wins this year than we've had in the last 3 or 4. And I think this is an 11 or 12-win team. I think it's a 12-win team. I think that the other team's never going to have the ball enough for it to be a relatively close game as a whole. I love it.
I'm really looking forward to the style. And I think you're right. I think you are probably going to see more double-digit wins because if we do have any kind of significant lead toward the end of the game, the defense has that ability to really close out against especially lesser opponents. And that I think is,
you talk about lesser opponents. We play the AFC South and the NFC South.
Right.
That's why I'm high on the win totals. Like everybody's like, oh, well, the Niners, they have the easiest, whatever about that anyways, but they have the easiest schedule in all of football. And, they've got CMC and Purdy and Warner and Bosa and then other guys. They'll have 10 wins, 11 wins, easiest schedule. How much different is our schedule? We play the same division opponents, play the same out of division opponents. There's 3 or 4 games that we play the slightly harder team than them from the year before. And who knows if that even holds going through this year. And they automatically are penciled in for 10 wins when they could barely get to 6 last year because they suck balls and they finished 4th in the division. While we quietly went about having 10 wins with a disaster of an offensive coordinator. I think that 12 wins is totally within range.
Oh, it's within range for sure. And I'd be extremely happy if it ends up being more toward the 12 side. Anything less than 10 is going to be a disappointment, again, to go back to the earlier term that I used, because it feels like 10 should be the floor. And that's even if you're talking about injuries to maybe even some of the significant spots on offense, because I think except for maybe the offensive line. But I think I like the depth at running back. I like the depth at receiver. I even like the depth at quarterback behind Sam Darnold if he happens to miss a game or two. I've seen enough from Drew Lock that I think we can, with the defense, that we can eke out some 17-14 games with Drew Lock under center. So I think that that's all within range. It's just once it gets to the postseason, I think that's where we're going to have our questions.
Okay. So, we talked about regular season record, and I think they lose in the divisional round.
That would be an improvement over previous seasons. I would love it.
And that goes back to some of my Darnold skepticism at that point.
That's where my Geno skepticism was. I every year I was
when did he ever have a legit team around him to play in the playoffs? When? Show me the year.
Here's another one of my season 2025 predictions. Adam is going to fall in love with Sam the way he fell in love with our previous Seahawks quarterbacks. Book it.
It's possible. It's in range.
Let's get to the second half of the show.
All right.
Getting into the second half of the show, and Adam, I brought it up just a little bit. I brought up the Micah Parsons trade.
Oh, okay.
And how it made me feel about our Seahawks, and just that reminder that we don't have that guy on our team. Are you at all disappointed that we couldn't have made that happen?
Well, first off, neither do the Cowboys now, which is hilarious. Disappointed.
Where on the disappointment scale? I was at a 3 if we don't have a top 6 defense. Keeping that in mind, what is your disappointment level?
So do you think the comp trade would have been something like 2 firsts and a Jaron Reed?
I think so. Jaron Reed, Kenny Clark, about the same-ish.
Played together at one point, too.
Right.
Yeah, right, in Green Bay. I got to thinking about this a lot because we had talked about it on the pod earlier before. Micah had made the trade request, but I don't think anybody was taking it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, just kind of give them whatever they want. I mean, it's Micah Parsons. It's 26-year-old pass rusher.
It's not that hard.
It's
make the deal.
Top 3. Just do it. I wonder if the Jamal Adams experience played into the calculus here. And I also wonder if, as an organization, they think that they're closer to 3 real good players away rather than 1 great player away. So I'd say I would kind of agree with that mindset. I think, I don't know. We'll find out. I'd say my disappointment was a 4. Okay. Not quite average, but a little higher than your defense disappointment at a 3.
Okay. Because I would probably put myself closer to a bigger number, like a 6 or a 7. Just seeing the compensation. I do think that Jamal Adams, that trade did play into it, but I don't know if it played into John Schneider as much as I wonder if it played into it with Jody Allen.
Oh, that's interesting.
Just because... who's cutting the check for one? And I think that having that experience and not getting the payoff with it, man, if I could then give up the Jamal trade just so we could have made the Micah trade, that if that was the reason why we didn't go after it, because the other thing that we didn't have in place, which I think came out of the Jamal trade, is that they've been John Schneider's been so much more careful of, do we know the guy that we're getting? And I think we've seen that with some of the trades that they have made. They want to make sure, like with Leo, they had Julian Love on the team. So they knew, they had a better idea of the, they have DeMarcus Lawrence. They would have
that's what
known.
I was going to ask you. What do you think? What do you think of their recommendation then, or lack thereof, maybe?
I have a hard time seeing if it was a lack thereof with those guys. And that's why I then that's why my mind more goes toward ownership as to being, and especially when I see the $47 million number, that ownership seems like the more likely place where that no hammer would come from.
Possibly. I also wonder if John, just looking at it in cap terms, would be like, no, we're good on that. Do you want to pay a D-end more than your non-rookie scale quarterback?
Well, that is probably another. I think John's even said it as much, is that he doesn't want to trade for a guy who is then the highest paid player on the team. I do like that idea of having the guys on the team earn it, as opposed to trading for a guy that then gets elevated to that spot.
Yeah, he does seem to like to let guys play it out a bit, right? When he brings them into Seattle, to be sure. Now, with that said, where do you think this puts the Packers going forward this season? How many wins does Micah Parsons add to their regular season in your mind?
I think it's a real good outcome for them, especially in a division that's going to be really competitive, because you got to think that the Bears with Ben Johnson are a little bit better.
Do we got to think that?
Yeah, I mean,
are we required to think that?
Better, right?
Maybe. We'll see.
They went from having Shane Waldron as an offensive coordinator to now having Ben Johnson. I have a hard time not seeing that as an upgrade.
No, that's true. They just still have Caleb is the problem.
But he has talent that I think that there's something there. I don't know when or if they're going to get it out of him this season or not, but it's still, I think the potential's there. I have more questions about JJ being
Caleb.
Well, being unproven. Like I've actually seen Caleb be healthy through an entire season.
Okay. I've also seen Caleb not look like an NFL quarterback really for an entire season. And so that kind of knocks it down to a little bit below JJ, where I'm like, with JJ, I'm like, well, I don't really know yet. I liked him coming out. Like with Caleb, I'm like, oh my God, that confirms some of my worst fears about that guy.
Yeah. But also has made some really good NFL plays too. So
yeah.
So my mind goes more toward the Lions and the Packers. It feels to me like the type of move that's going to push them then ahead of the Lions in terms of winning the division. So I can envision the Packers being the 1 or 2 seed with Micah Parsons on the team now.
Before the Parsons trade, did you have either the Lions or the Vikes ahead of the Packers in the division?
I think I would have put the Lions there. I can't put the Vikings, who have relatively unknown as a division winner, without seeing what that quarterback's able to produce in the NFL.
I get to that same place with the Lions on the coaching side of things, because you have a fantastic CEO coach in Dan Campbell, and he lost both of his top coordinators who did a hell of a job the last few years. Like, I don't know these dudes that they're bringing up to replace them. I got to see it a lot. Like I need to see it with JJ to a degree.
Yeah.
And, also 15-win season last year. I mean, what are the odds of regression compared to holding steady? I mean, pretty high. So I kind of had the Vikings as I just think right now this year, they're a more complete team with less turmoil. And so that's what has me wondering, but we'll see. It's such a fascinating division. So for me, I think about this trade, and I think this probably gives the Packers 2 more wins on the regular season. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, that's crazy. It's so competitive that even great players, when they move teams, they don't often translate to 6 wins or something like that.
Oh no. But if
great players elevate you 2 games.
Yeah, if you saw the Packers as an 11-win team, and now that they're a 13-win team,
yeah,
that's a significant jump. That's the difference from being a 2 or 3 seed to being the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and that's about where I had the Packers, was right around 11 wins in my mind.
Yeah,
but I'm a Jordan Love believer, so
I just think it then helps out that defense significantly in the pressure that, Kenny Clark gave you 1 sack last year, and yeah, it was a down year. But Micah's going to make up for more than that.
Yeah, but Kenny Clark sure is good at stopping the run, which is more important than sacks.
It's going to make more of a difference, though, I think. Yeah, they're going to find a way to stop the run, I think, in Green Bay still.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. I like their linebacking core. There's talent there. They've got a lot of good players.
Adrian Cooper, it could be... He might already be one of the top 3 linebackers in the NFC right now.
Ooh, wow. Okay. That's high praise. I need to watch me some more Edge Coop.
Yeah. I think you'll like him if you do.
All right. Because I've always really liked Quay Walker as well with that group. I don't know. But maybe I don't watch enough Packer football because I have taste.
Speaking of taste, new rivalries uniforms released. The Seahawks were among 8 teams releasing their uniforms. A lot of interesting reactions from the Seahawks fan base, especially considering how much they looked like a fellow college rival with the Oregon Ducks uniforms, Adam.
Dude, my very first thought when I opened that up, I was like, oh, the Seattle Ducks. This isn't going to play well in Seattle. I didn't think it would.
No, but Oregon fans are Seahawks fans too sometimes.
Oh, I understand that. I get that very much. But yeah, I mean, there's a very purple team that lives in Seattle that I think that maybe the fans as a whole gravitate towards a little more. I
like the gray with the green better than I like the white and the green. And I think this all could have been fixed if they would just made the green either closer to the green and the old school Seahawks logo.
There you go.
Or the green closer to Sonic's colors rather than Ducks colors.
Yeah. Those are pretty close, though. Like old school Duck colors.
It's very identifiable when you see like the Sonics yellow paired with the Sonics green. Like if they would have found a way to incorporate that into the uniform so it made it clear that it was that city type connection, I think that would have been a way to get around it.
Look, I'm just going to say this right now. I think this whole series of uniforms is dog shit. Catfish! And I don't know what we're doing. The Patriots look like the Colts. The Jets look like the gray man. The Dolphins are an all black team now.
The Dolphins might have been the best one.
Right. Right. Anytime you say Dolphins might have been the best, anything like gross.
The 49ers have the weird font on their numbers that
faithful. We are so faithful. Like across their God.
And Arizona with their dirt on their like it's been splattered by mud.
Dude, it looks like they got drugged behind a truck. Like, what is that? Like, wait, are we playing it in a zombie apocalypse game now? Like, is that what's happening?
And then the Rams, they could have had something close, but they went with like a weird sleeve type thing where the colors, it just doesn't even make sense.
They basically kind of went with that same design concept of the early 2000s Seahawks unis, right? With the little weird shoulder caps.
With the blue and the green, how it just was divergent color wise.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The only ones that I kind of dug were the Bills ones, right? But they're still kind of boring.
Yeah, because it's just all white.
I know. And I'm just like, why?
It's the opposite of the Jets. It's just instead of a very dark uniform, it's a light uniform.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it in terms of it's just all keep getting them checks, right? This is all about money.
Right.
And, just selling jerseys. But like going back to the Seahawks uni, though, like the sound waves, they call those sound waves.
Yeah.
They don't look like sound waves. Like, I don't understand. They look more like little tiger stripes or something than they do sound waves.
Well, wasn't it the promo that they put out where it was kind of like the rippling from, it's more of a water ripple than sound waves.
And it's not even because they don't connect. They're like, they're like little bits.
That part of it doesn't bother me. Other than maybe wanting to call them sound waves, but I like the look. Like that part's unique compared to any of the other ones that we've seen.
That's fair. I'd take that.
And I like it more than, the Cardinals one's unique, but it just looks again like they drove up behind a truck through the mud.
Golly, man. Like they look like the poverty franchise they are.
It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. And look, I'll say this too. Does this get rid of the god awful, never to be seen again, hopefully, highlighter jerseys? Are the color rush gone? Are they gone forever? Are they burned? Are they dead? Can we send them to Africa or something?
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. Because
I know you want it to be that way.
I really do. If we did that, then this is a massive upgrade and kudos to the NFL. Like, fantastic.
To break it down, Adam hates these a whole lot less than the green highlighter jerseys.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, something that I know we don't hate or have any hate for whatsoever, Adam.
No.
It's our executive producers. We've got DCH, Doug Chancel Harry. We've got Ryan Peterson, our live YouTube executive producer. We've got JC Schilling in the 313th. We've got Brian Shaw. JC Schilling coming in with a $313 donation, Adam, with a note of executive producer dues. So a big thanks to JC.
Huge thanks, man. That's amazing. And, that's the type of stuff that makes it so that we can head out for week 1 against the Dirty Niners and see all y'all there at the game. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm fired up. Oh, my gosh. It's week 1, Brandon. It's over. We're here.
We're here. We are just 7 days away from gathering at a location that is still TBD. I have to find a spot for where we are going to meet up on the following Saturday. And I'm thinking, I don't know, we're kind of up closer to Linwood this time. So do we do like a Dave and Buster's type thing?
I've never been.
Oh, well, maybe that's what we have to do then.
Sweet, because I'm going to kill it at Dave and Buster's. I feel like I'm going to dominate there.
Lots of games.
It's got a lot of games, right?
Lots of games for Adam to play. That's what we need.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, keep my childlike mind entertained. That'd be good. Can we put off this decision for at least like 5 more days? Just to tweak Clinton just a little bit.
Planner Clinton needs to know where we're going to be at on Saturday.
Yeah. Hey, look, his type A stuff has been very handy, and it's really helped us kind of, move the ball forward in a lot of ways. But yeah, man, I think he's trying to plan out something in like 2056, like right now,
And Adam and I very much not planners, so
which is surprising to everybody, I'm sure.
Yeah, when we usually do like a normal season expectation show toward the beginning of the month, we've pushed this off like at least 3 weeks now.
Yeah, and guess what? Yeah, feels good. It's still before the season. I think we nailed it.
You know what, though? I don't know if my expectations... my hope is that by pushing it back, I would gain more information to be able to set in stone my expectations a little more. It probably didn't change. Other than having that one drive of the offense against the Chiefs to maybe inform it a little bit more, we didn't get a whole lot.
I'd say week 2 of the preseason, I am not one to be like, oh, look at that. It's a preseason. They're going to be so good. But that was different. You didn't see any other team do anything like that in the preseason. And that changed my expectations this year. No doubt about it. Yeah. For better or for worse.
Maybe this ends up being post preseason games in the future. We'll have to decide.
Yeah.
Clinton will plan it out for us.
Yeah, if they end up winning more like 9, if they win more like 9 games instead of 12, like I said, then we're not doing this again like this, because obviously it screwed up my whole deal.
That's true.
Yeah, I'll blame that.
Well, big thanks to JC, executive producer, and Brian Shaw coming in via Zelle, our other executive producer. Well, one of our 4 executive producers, 112.12. Thanks to Brian Shaw.
That's awesome, man. Totally appreciate it, bud. And wait,
I need to text Brian. Are we going to see him at the opener? Is he going to make the trip up? We'll have to see.
I don't know that we've heard. Well, I mean, it's required now, right?
Yeah, right. Obviously.
Yeah, figure it out, dude.
All right, we've got Yokai Hawk coming in at 12:12. We see Yokai Hawk out on YouTube quite a bit saying, Konnichiwa, good day. It would be great to discover other flockers in the land of the rising Hawkra. Is it possible to request a PSA for Japan flockers to reveal themselves in the hashtag Seahawks travel channel out there on Discord or wherever they lurk so that we can gather? 12 is 1. The more distant the flock, the louder the squawk from Yokai Hawk.
Man, Yokai's got the rhyming down, man.
Yeah,
like, that was pretty slick. Absolutely. If any of y'all are listening from, it sounds like he was from Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just making sure that I didn't get distracted by the rhymes, but yeah, reach out, man. Like, let's get you guys connected, because I would have never thought it was possible before, but there's a bunch of you little flockers out there in Europe that have connected via the show, which is unbelievable and amazing. Let's do it in Asia too.
Yeah, there's definitely a Swedish, a travel group in Sweden that's hooking up for week 1. So, yeah, if you are listening and you're like, oh, I'm close to Sweden, then you need to be on our Discord, getintheflock.com, and you can connect with those kind of folks too.
Heck yeah, man. And, man, I can't wait to see the Discord. Well, no, I won't be seeing it because I'm going to be at the game. I'm not going to be on my phone. I can't wait to see the Discord week 1. You could try. I can't do those 2 things at once.
I know. We've got Stephen Kirkpatrick. I know Stephen can do more than one thing because he's coming in with 2 donations, Adam. Part of that's because we've put this off so long that we have not done our traditional flagship show. He came in with a 23.23 donation for the week 1 preseason tie. And then came in with the week 1 donation, 36.16. So coming in with the tie and with the win donation.
It's awesome. Glad to see that he's in preseason or in regular season form. This is going to be sweet.
Keith Lavelle coming in at $4.50 with the euros. Welcome to the flock to Keith.
Big welcome, Keith. Yeah, that's going to get that's Discord, right? No, euros are more than the dollar or less than the dollar.
It's got to be enough for the Discord. It's fine.
Yeah. Let's get Keith in there.
John Orell coming in at $3. Welcome to the flock to John. And Amanda Cesario coming in at $3. Welcome to the flock to Amanda. And Mark Flynn, that's a recognizable name, coming in at $145.44. Must be re-upping for the whole year at $12.12.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate that a ton, Mark. And, everybody else there that was getting in at the $3 level there. And if you're looking to get in the flock, if you've been a freeloader for a while, that's a great way to do it. $3? Like, I don't even think you can buy half a latte for that anymore.
No.
Like, with inflation, right?
Yeah, that's not a latte, but you could probably get a black coffee.
I don't know.
That's all you do that I've seen anyway when we go through the McDonald's drive-through.
McDonald's aberration, right? Because, you know, they
drive-through black coffee. That's what $3 gets you.
That's right. And so, like, you can get in the flock for $3 a month and get in the Discord, be a part of that whole group on game day and everything. Tough to do with a frown. Just do it. You're going to feel better about it. And you don't want McDonald's coffee anyway. Yeah,
you're going to get way more out of the Discord than 1 cup of McDonald's coffee per month.
That's right. Unless you're in Alabama, and then that's literally the best coffee you're going to find. Like, for real. They don't believe in coffee down there.
Oh, really? It's like they just don't?
No, they don't.
Oh.
Like, if it ain't sweet tie, if it ain't sweet tie, then it ain't catfish.
That makes
coffee?
sense.
What? Why are you, Yankee? What are you talking about?
If anybody, down south, if you can drink sweet tea, coffee would be disgusting because sweet tea has got to be like the sweetest drink that I've ever put my lips to. That everything else under sweet tea would seem like probably the most disgusting drink that you've ever had. Like if that's your go-to drink.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever wondered what diabetes tastes like, that's what it tastes like right there. And then, have you seen the Lipton ones now? They have extra sweet. It's like a purple.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like when you're down there, like you go to the cooler and you're like wanting to get an unsweetened iced tea like a human. And like you go and you look at it and it's like lemon, which is full of sugar, raspberry, which is full of sugar, lightly sweet, and then extra sweet. And there's no unsweetened. None.
I made that mistake once of grabbing like sweet tea rather than the unsweet tea from.
Oh, dude.
And I couldn't do it.
Louisiana, I don't know how many times I've been down there. You pull up, again, the customers, everything is just different down there, right? So you pull up to the drive-thru, and when you get to the speaker, that instead of being like, welcome to McDonald's, what can I do for you today? Or, or would you like to use the stupid app, which they could kill that, but whatever. No, you pull up to the deal, and they go, what you want? And you're like, I'd like an unsweet tea. Okay, honey, whatever you say. And like, you get up there. And I don't know how many times I've ordered an unsweet tea and they just give you a sweet tea instead. It's just so ingrained.
It must be different because we did the Texas trip this off season.
Oh, Texas isn't the South.
Okay.
Yeah, those are different places.
Okay. I haven't. Then I guess I haven't been to the South in any kind of recency. So.
Well, I think you're doing okay. Just stay away. That's a hard pass.
Unless you're a sweet tea lover. Then that's your home.
And humidity and snakes. If you love that sort of catfish, then get right on down to Arkansas. Do it. Mississippi, Alabama, gross.
We've got Mike Douthit coming in at $3 a month. Welcome to the flock to Mike. And Adam, we got a $35 donation from Tanner Roach from right here in Kalispell, Montana. And Tanner's going to be at the game. I
didn't realize he was coming.
Oh, yeah. Got his whole family coming. That's like 7 of us sitting in our group section. So
Yeah, boy. All right. That's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to that. I had no idea.
Yep. So thanks to Tanner. Thanks to all of our members of the flock, new and old, and our executive producers. And Adam, what do you say we get on to some do better and better at life?
All right, man. Well, why don't you hit up your do better here first?
All right. My do better this week is for GE, General Electric, and their stupid microwaves. I guess I shouldn't call them completely stupid because I did have one that lasted 10 years. And I feel like that's a good run for a new appliance, right? 10 years. It just,
an appliance that shoots out radiation? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
But then it just all of a sudden, and I don't know exactly when it happened. It just all of a sudden decided that it's not popping popcorn anymore. And that's how we knew.
Oh, okay.
So I had to go out, look for a new microwave. And this was my line of thinking. Maybe my train of thought, maybe this is a problem of me and my train of thought more so than GE. But it was my kind of expectation in my brain that I thought, okay, this is an over-the-range appliance. GE, like, they're going to want to incentivize you to also replace it with their own appliance. So what they would do to incentivize that is, I don't know, make the holes that screw into the top that holds it up above the range. Like, they would put that in the same spot. And I couldn't have been more wrong. It turns out that it's maybe like 3/8 of an inch off of where it was. So like,
that's such a dick distance too, right? Because like to drill another hole, you keep falling into the other hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. And so I ended up not only, the first one that I did, I must have made it. I think I just took the drill and I started in the old hole and went up and down to just
hollow it out a little bit. Yeah.
And so it had that same width at least. The next one, it was not only 3/8 forward, but also 3/8 to the right. And so when I did that forward and then I had to go to the side, I ended up with, instead of a 3/8 hole, about an inch hole. And then I had to get another piece of wood to drill the 3/8 of an inch hole through to put it over the top and secure it in that spot. So, for GE and their stupid measurement on their new appliances, do better.
Oh yeah. Some stupid engineer is sitting in their little GE cubicle being like, we had to move the holes like by 3/8 of an inch to the left and then also like a little bit to the front. Hey, does that seem like that'd be hard on the homeowner? Who cares? It's going to be so much better.
Yeah. Like they couldn't have engineered it just a little bit just to keep it in the same spot. Like that. No. So annoying.
Well, it's probably some intern that designed the last holes and like he hasn't been there for 10 years. And so it's some new poor sap intern that like, they're like, hey, you're on microwave hole duty. And it's like, where do they go? And they're like, I don't know. Figure it out, bud.
The kind of the top and toward the front.
Right. I wonder if they've migrated like a 1/16 of an inch, like year over year.
Right. And so after 10 years, it's now moved to 3/8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerks.
Oh, so frustrating. That stuff is infuriating, man. Those are the type of things that get me to throw stuff like, I got the wrong brake pads the other day for like no reason. They just handed me Mazda ones and like, now I got to drive another hour and a half to go pick them up. And like, yeah, they're just a little off. Right.
Yeah. It's, after it was over, I think, man, I don't know if I would have waited. Like if they would have had somebody that could have come like the same day or even like in the next couple days to do it. In hindsight, I would have had somebody else do it. But most of the places I looked at were like 3 weeks, and I definitely wasn't going to wait that long.
I don't think I'd have let you live that one down if you didn't drill your own microwave holes. Be a man. Come on.
Okay, so here's the other thing. They give you this template that...
I hate those.
Well, it would totally make sense like if you were putting it on a flat surface because it's up above. And so it's nice for the back wall because you can put it down flat on the back wall, know where you need to line up the holes. Because also it was a half an inch taller than the old one, so I had to. I couldn't just use the same mount that was there from the previous one. Which whatever, that's fine. But having to go upward, that's where the difficult part was. And so not only that, but wood cupboards it's not just a flat surface on the bottom. You have rails.
No. Yep.
And so one of the holes had to go through one of the rails, kind of beneath, and one was, the distance. It was just, the thin cupboard distance. But so trying to line up the template is the point, is that it's not just a flat surface that you can just, adhere it to and have it be line up perfectly anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, you made it happen. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy you didn't call another dude to come out and do your dude stuff, because that's in your wheel. You can do it. Obviously you can. You got it done.
Got it done.
So,
my wife helped me.
Yeah.
Credit to him. So.
Oh yeah. I would have Brittany help me with those things, but I don't think that she can deal with my frustration as I go through some of these things. And that's fair. It's fair.
We were all frustrated by the end, but we did it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, one of the things that frustrated me today, it is Saturday as we record this, there was a less than professional football game that was played today. I think they call it college, of Ohio State and Texas. And this is 3 hours ago as we're sitting here in the evening. This article comes out from The Athletic from Dane Brugler and Nick Baumgartner. It's a long name for Nick, but this was the headline, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. What did Arch Manning's performance at Ohio State mean for his NFL draft outlook?
It's over.
Jack Catfish. Like, that's it. It's a sample size of one out of however many more college games Arch Manning is going to play, whether he plays, just through this year or all the way next year. Like, we're hours after his first game with his first, legit start as the starter of the Texas Longhorns. We are deciding where his draft stock is now after one game. Like, give the kid a break. Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. Maybe let him put together what we call a body of work and then figure out what his draft outlook is. We got years to talk about this stuff. So to Dane and to Nick Baumgartner at The Athletic, dude, have some patience. You can't crowd him. You can't, put him in the grave already. Like, just relax and do better.
I find this very surprising coming from someone who I stood right next to at the Shrine Bowl and measured Kyle McCord's draft stock throw by throw during the Shrine Bowl. Like, if we can't do that, then why can't we measure it then after a sample size of a full game?
Well, there's a big reason. Arch Manning seems to have talent, and then there's Kyle McCord.
It's wild to me, the Kyle McCord hype that we got to experience, and then he did not make the cut as a third-string quarterback of the Eagles in favor of Sam Howell being traded there.
Couldn't beat out Tanner frickin' McKee.
Yeah.
He's got concrete boots on. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Wild.
Well, you can put Clinton. Clinton's catching strays on this podcast, but you can put Clinton in the Kyle McCord loving camp. He was convinced.
Find me a player that doesn't have a little bit of talent that Clinton can't fall in love with.
Well, especially if they're out on the East Coast with him. Like, that's what gets him.
Well, Adam, I may be in love with my new Better at Life this week. Weird Al Yankovic, my Better at Life. We did a family show a couple weeks ago. My nephew went to his very first concert. So went with my brother, went with his wife, went with my mom, took all our kids. And my youngest, probably the biggest Weird Al fan of our three girls, especially after I introduced her to, she actually became a Queen fan, my youngest, before she became a Weird Al fan. But having heard Another One Bites the Dust, we found Weird Al's Another One Rides the Bus. And that got her into Weird Al and liking some of his songs and the parodies. And the thing that I had no expectation of, because I'd never been to a Weird Al Yankovic show, but his costume changes for a lot of his different parodies. One of the things that they do throughout the show is they'll take a break. They do like a video montage up on the screen, and they go and they change into the costumes of whatever song then that they're going to be parodying.
Good luck with that one. Yeah.
Doing the song that they'll be doing a parody of.
There it is. Yeah,
there it is. That's the proper English way to go about it. Yeah, they would change costumes, and it made it that much more entertaining having him being in the Amish uniform for Amish Paradise, being in the grunge outfits of the 80s and late 80s and early 90s for Smells Like Nirvana, and that just pushed the envelope just that much more for the Weird Al concert. For the girls that don't even really care about his music, they were thoroughly entertained. So even if you're not a fan, I think you could go to that concert and be entertained. And for that, Weird Al, better at life than Skip Bayless.
There's a few people in life that I am insanely jealous of. And one of them is the dude that figured out that back in the early 1900s that the wheelbarrow had never been patented. And so he goes out and he patents the wheelbarrow, and they just got like a dime for every wheelbarrow for like perpetuity, right? Became like a millionaire. Like, hats off to that guy. Keep getting them checks. Dude, Weird Al's one of those dudes, man. Like, he came up with the concept of writing all of these parody songs. And like I'm not saying he's not talented. Obviously it takes talent, way more talent than I'd ever have. But like, it's kind of like hitting the easy button, like right through success. And he just keeps getting them checks. He obviously puts on a great show. And I think it's awesome. I've always been jealous of the dude. I was like, what a genius idea.
It takes talent to be able to take a song like Ridin' Dirty and turning it into White and Nerdy and having it be maybe even bigger than the actual song that it's a parody of. So one of the songs that he closed with was, I'm trying to think of the name of the Star Wars song, but it's a parody of American Pie. And it has to do with the first Star Wars movie. Something about being a Jedi. Anyway, incredible song. Don McClain even recognized it as being better than his original. So I thought
that's pretty amazing. So, do you think he has to write royalty checks to any of the originals? Like, I wonder how that works.
I think that because it's parody, it's
all fair use.
It's all fair use. I think he has said that he gets permission generally from the artist to do it.
Okay.
So he doesn't have to.
Stand up.
Yeah. The Saga Begins. That's the one that parodies American Pie.
Gotcha.
Who do we have to thank for that? Was it the Two Live Crew who did? They took the.
Oh man! Don't ask me music trivia, dude. Wrong guy.
Yeah,
wrong guy.
I
can't help you.
Clinton would be able to help me with that, but
big time.
Or a Pretty Woman. Two Live Crew did the quote unquote parody of Pretty Woman. That was a big court case that I think solidified the use of parody for songs.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Music lesson.
Good. Yeah, good job, Two Live Crew. Congratulations. Yeah, that's fun. I'm glad you guys had a good time and got down to Missoula and didn't come by here. That's cool. I'm glad it was a good time.
You could have met us there. It's fine.
I could have. I made every bit of a lack of effort as you may have. So yeah, if not more so.
Okay, who's your better at life this week?
Yeah, for no lack of effort, the Ringer is my better at life than Skip Bayless this week, and they did a tournament for the best NFL team of the quarter century. And so there's a ton of teams in the bracket. You would recognize a lot of them. So for example, like the 22 Chiefs are in there, the 2000 Ravens, the 2019 Chiefs, 2024 Eagles, 2009 Saints, like a lot of really good teams from the last quarter century. And so they had this set up bracket style, and they opened it up to voting, and we went all the way through. And at the end of the day, Brandon, there was one champion, and it was the right champion. The 2013 Seahawks were the champions of the quarter century, and they were voted the best team of the last 25 years. I love it. Those guys are awesome for putting this together. And for all of you that went out and voted, I'm sure there is a number of 12s that got in there, but obviously a lot, maybe just Patriot and Chiefs haters as well, too. So thank you to those folks. Also, the Seahawks placed exactly where they should be, taking their crown as the best team of the last 25 years. So thank you to the ringer. You are better at life than Skip Bayless.
That 2013 team, the farther we get away from it too, the more special it seems. And it was cool because I don't know if you caught the interview of Doug Baldwin on with Marshawn and Mike Robb. But,
oh no.
Yeah. Doug Baldwin was on the Get Got pod and,
okay.
Good conversation. It was cool getting into it too about, they got a little bit into, Hall of Fame candidacy, like for Russ. And I thought Doug had kind of an interesting perspective, really, when it comes down to the greatness of the team as a whole, but then also kind of how it plays into the greatness of some of the stars on the team, because it was one of the things that Doug kind of, he would say in practice, we would be torching guys like Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman, like with our wide receiving crew that was relatively pedestrian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it was that mentality of them wanting to be great that then helped propel some of the greatness of the Hall of Fame type players. And so I thought that was just kind of a neat perspective of, yeah, would Russ be in that position that he is in to have those Hall of Fame type numbers without really great players? Like, with obviously having Marshawn helped, but also having receivers like Doug Baldwin, like Jermaine Curris, like Sidney Rice, like those that also helped him be the type of player that he became. And it was just kind of a cool perspective.
That is a cool perspective, and I'll have to go check that out for sure. Because, obviously an amazing team, and they beat out the 2007 Patriots in the bracket, and that was the 16-0 year in the Randy Moss year in the. Oh,
so they put in Super Bowl teams that didn't necessarily win the Super Bowl.
Just great teams. Yeah. Yep.
Where did the 2013 Broncos, where did they eventually lose to?
They lost at not being included in the bracket at all. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I mean, look.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, the fact that they were...
no, they were the 4th seed in one of the brackets.
Because it was the 2015 Broncos that won the Super Bowl, right?
They were a 7 seed on the other side of the bracket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Fun
exercise.
I think the 2013 Broncos, the offense was definitely better, but it was the 2015 defense that got them the title. That's a tough one. If you were to match those two teams up, like put them in a bracket next to each other, 2013 Broncos versus 2015 Broncos. Mm-hmm. I wonder who comes out ahead in that, just among the voting public.
I mean, if I had to watch that, I'd just kill myself and then not have to do it, because then I would not have to watch Broncos, which is great.
That probably, you know what? I think that's a smart choice.
Yeah. Then I'd be dead and I'd be happy. So it'd be great. Yeah.
As we close out, one thing I always like to do as part of our season expectation show, I actually don't know if we hit it every year, but I try and make a point of hitting it every year, and that is to make sure that in the show, we thank all of our $12 supporters and above. Let's get to that list right now.
Keith Ketover, a.k.a. Flocktimus Prime, University of Cybertron, Little Flockers, Roll Out.
DCH from Sparks, Nevada, the University of Montana Grizzlies.
Gary Blum from Chappaqua, New York, and the University of Pennsylvania, your 2016 Pick'em League champion.
Ron Pepper, UNLV Runnin' Rebels, San Francisco, California.
Hello, this is Hock Van Dyke from London, the 2024 champion of the Ring of Honor Fantasy Football League.
Lisa in Seattle.
Samuel Gelber, NoHo, California.
David Van Cleve, Camas, Washington, home of the Papermakers.
Leo Jesse, Luleå, Sweden, from Luleå Eskimos and Vancouver in France.
Aaron Fisher, coming in from Henderson, Nevada. Go Hawks!
Chris Boucher, a.k.a. the biggest little flocker, South Central Louisiana State University. Go Mud Dogs.
Hey, it's JC Schilling, back from Germany, living on beautiful Whidbey Island now with Quinn and Hudson. Go Hawks!
Hey, Seahawkers. My name is Garen Taylor. I live in one of the most beautiful places in the world, North Idaho. Hashtag on the Rose. Go Hawks.
You heard from executive producers DCH and JC Schilling. Also, thanks to executive producers Ryan Peterson and Brian Shaw. Continuing down the list of $12 supporters and above, starting with Rebecca in Manhattan Beach, California, Christina in Manassas, Virginia, Craig in Camas, Jeremiah in the Bronx, Sven in Berlin, Deutschland, Chris in Spokane, Kevin in Great Glen, England, Jonathan in Ridgefield, Brandon in Huntersville, North Carolina, Kevin in Surrey, BC, Jake in Seattle, James in Beauarts, Pepper in Greer, South Carolina, JC in Horsford, England, Jay in Linwood, Brian in Omak, Glenn in Ocoee, Florida, Brian in Berlin, Connecticut, Connie in Gothenburg, Sweden, Tracy in Kaneohe, Hawaii, Marvin in Riverdale, Utah, Jeffrey in Kansas City, John W. in New York, Patrick in Sacramento, Bryson in Eltopia, Jeremy in Federal Way, Ken in Hutto, Texas, Mario in Seattle, Paul in Portland, Daniel C. in the Greater Hockham, Norma in the Greater Hockham, Jeff in Bainbridge Island, Cora in Ditters, Deutschland, Anders in Vila, Denmark, Warren in Dundee, Oregon, JC in the Greater Hockham, Amy in Squim, Richard in Killeen, Texas, Joseph in Vancouver, Ryan in Salt Lake City, Utah, Jamie in Oswestry, England, Joshua in the Greater Hockham, Rafe in Beaverton, Oregon, Eugene in Henderson, Nevada, Marlon in the Greater Hockham, DJ in Menifee, California, Phoebe in the Greater Hockham, Jason in Panama City, Florida, Alexander in Oranienburg, Deutschland, Mark in Bexley Heath, England, Sean in Cascade, Iowa via Kalispell, Montana, Ovary Smasher 69 in Phoenix, Gordon in Valdez, Alaska, Jeff in Gilbert, Arizona, Greg in Lake City, Colorado, Oliver in Fort St. John, BC, Ian in Seattle, B. Walls 22 in New York, Russell in Harpenden, England, Sam in Alamonte Springs, Florida, Chris in Manchester, England, Nathan in Fife, Charles in Bremerton, Ranger Luke in DuPont, Ken in Stanwood, Stu in Navarre, Florida, Marty in Melbourne, Australia, Corey in Robertson, Australia, Nate in Solna, Sweden, The Poetrist in Boise, RJ in Bucyrus, Kansas, Martin in Ferrum, Denmark, Jeremiah in the Greater Hockham, Root in the Greater Hockham, Mark in Everett, Jack in San Diego, and Yokai Hawk in Nakatsugawashi, Japan. A big thanks to everybody for sticking around for our 2025 season expectation show. Adam, I hope our 25 expectations, even if they come up short of what the outcome was for the 2013 team, I hope that the outcomes end up being equal.
I don't know exactly what that means, but okay. Yeah.
I mean, our expectations for this show, it wasn't we're going to the Super Bowl, but I'm saying in 2013, we did go to the Super Bowl and we won.
That's right.
So that's what I want. Even though my expectations may not be there, I still want the outcome that we had in 2013.
Well, you swayed me. This Darnold thing's going to be amazing. We're going to the Super Bowl, Brandon.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.